This is TigerRock3. Today we're going to look at the CSV module. It's quite good. It's a module that sometimes people don't know exists, and then they want to work with a CSV file, and they start reinventing the wheel themselves. They go through each line in the file, and they split on commas, and then something breaks because they forgot that a comma can be in one of the cells in a field. And then they start writing logic for that. And what if there's quotes? The CSV module handles everything for you. It is one of the best wheels to not reinvent because CSV is not a standard. It is a it's a de facto standard, meaning a standard in fact. There's no governing body that deals with CSV. It's just whatever people thought worked and made sense and allowed you to do things without your program exploding. That's what it is. So there are various dialects and ways of representing certain situations, like the delimiter being in a field, for example. And the CSV module is intended to handle all of them without making your head explode. So, import, there we go. So, the main things in here are csv.reader and csv.writer, which read and write, respectively, CSV files and allow you to work with those. Let's make a CSV file in here. What a CSV file is a bunch of text. Of course, because they're text files. So let's make one of those. You can use a file object for one of these, or anything that supports the iterator protocol and returns a string each time its next method is called. File objects, lists, whatever. So let's do this. File equals yeah, let's do this. Spam ham and eggs. I say spam because Python is named after Monty Python, and spam is a recurring theme in Monty Python. They go to the deli and they have spam this and spam that, spam, 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 spam and eggs, spam and beans, spam, wonderful spam. So that's actually where the term spam comes from in the context of unsolicited bulk emails and other communications. Because in this deli, everyone's just saying spam, 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 and you can't get a word in edgewise. So when someone's spamming you, you can't get a word in edgewise. Spam, ham and eggs, spam, spam. See what I did there? I have, let's go the other way around, actually. Let's go the other way around. Let's have a list of lists. Instead of making a file that we're going to read, we're going to make a 2D list, and it's going to write a CSV file out of that. That's better. That's a better idea. L equals spam ham and eggs, spam, 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 what else? I don't quite know. So there's one line, and the next line will be, here's the next line. Note how I enclosed it in double quotes because I have a single quote within the string. So this allows us to not need to escape it. More spam. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's have 4 on each line. That's good. Spam ham and non-stick Pam. I don't know. I just wanted something that rhymed mostly. Let's actually put this on the next line because we can do that. Spam, ham, and non-stick Pam. Pam is a brand of cooking oil, whatever. So we end that, and then we end the list. Very good. So now we will write our CSV file. Return a writer object. It needs a file object, I see. Well, doesn't need one. It can be any object with a write method. Does sys.standardout have a write method? No. So I'm going to write it to a string. Let's just make a file, I guess. Let's change the directory to desktop. Very good. Now it'll dump something on the desktop, and that's easy for me to work with. My computer desktop is absolutely empty. No icons of any sort. I don't even display the recycle bin on there. My actual desktop is covered with stuff and things, and yeah, it is not nearly as tidy. Anyway, let's write a file. First, let's open something for write mode. Spam.csv. Note that the CSV extension isn't necessary. It's just going to be the name of the file. And when I have this file written and closed, it can be opened by whatever program I want. And CSV just tells the computer, maybe you want to open it with this default program that handles CSVs. Or if I ask open with some program, it's going to say maybe the stuff that does CSV first. Like OpenOffice Calc, which is the free version of Excel. Excel is really good. I'm not super happy with Calc. Doesn't work quite as well as Excel, but it's cheaper. So, write mode. If you're writing to a file object, you need to specify new line equals empty string. This is why you need documentation. How do I use this module? You need to specify new line equals empty string. I don't know why. You would think that writing to a file is the normal thing. Maybe it's that maybe the CSV module itself will handle the new lines or something. Isn't that usually how it works anyway? I don't know. It doesn't say why. It just says it should be opened with new line. Maybe there's what's this link? Why? If new line equals empty string is not specified, new lines embedded inside quoted fields will not be interpreted correctly, and on platforms that use carriage return and line feed line endings on write, an extra carriage return will be added. It should always be safe to specify new line equals empty string, since the CSV module does its own universal new line handling. Okay. So that's for new lines embedded inside quoted fields. If I had one of these with a \n character in it, that would be bad. If I didn't specify a new line equals empty string. So let's work on that. New line equals this as output. Writer equals csv.writer with the output. Dialect by default is Excel, and then it lets us have a bunch of parameters. Let's do delimiter equals comma. Quote character is this is probably a default, isn't it? I bet that's the default. Let's just do output. The example they give in the documentation has a delimiter of a space and a quote character of the vertical bar or pipe, which is this. Lives with Mr. Backslash. And quoting, it has csv.quoteMinimal. I don't even know what that does. So let's just do this. Writer equals this. For line in L. Writer dot write row with the line. So each thing you send to this write row has to be a row, meaning a list of, not necessarily a sequence of strings. I think they have to be strings. All other non-string data are stringified with the string built-in method, str, before being written. So that's what you get. Probably works pretty well. The value none is written as the empty string. Okay. So let's do that and be done. So there were two lists in L. One was 49 bytes and the next was 57. That's what this does, I suppose. Like the ordinary write method for file objects. It returns the number of bytes written each time. So let's open this, not in write mode, but rather in read mode, as f reader equals csv.reader with this file, right? This file, delimiter, quote character, for row in reader, print row. Let's just get the basic thing and see the lists. It'll probably be just what we started with, more or less. Actually, it will be things properly quoted. Let's see what we get. This. Alright. So let's actually take a look at what's in this file. For line in F, print line. So check it out. This is the actual content of our file. If we opened it with like Notepad or something, this is what you'd see. If you opened it in a spreadsheet program, it would load each field into a different column and each line into a different row, and there's an empty line over here because the content already has new line characters, and the print function by default ends whatever it prints with a new line. So we get to notice how it is quoted here. So our text file would have, this, and then a comma to delimit, and then this, comma, and then it has a double quote, and then a field that contains commas, and then the ending double quote, and the comma, and then the thing. And then we have this, and then a comma, and then this. What would happen if we had a quote in it? What does L look like? Goodness. L dot append. Here's something with a quote and oh, how about here is a new line. I have a, it's gonna be a line feed and then uline. Funny. What is this? Why is that there? Here's a new line. Does it automatically do that? No. Here's a new line. And back R back N is good. And finally, spam. Great. Let's write this. Reader, writer. Good. Nope, just finish. Good. Okay. Open spam.csv as f. Now let's just print f.read. It's the reason that you might want to iterate over a file object instead of reading the whole thing immediately is sometimes files can be large, and reads the whole file into memory at once, and then, you know, does whatever with it. While iterating over each line, gets some amount of data equal to whatever the buffer size is. Generally, it'll get like 3 to 5 lines at a time, and that means that you read, you know, some smallish number of bytes, and then it yields a line delimited by a line feed, and then it yields the next line, and when it's done with each line, it frees that memory, gets rid of it. So you don't have to store the whole file at once, because what if your file is like 9 gigs and you've got 4 gig of RAM? That's bad. That's bad. You don't want to do that. But I know that my file is equal to 120, 170 is equal to 190 bytes. So I'm honestly not worried. And let's just print that. So here's what we got. So we have our new line over there, etc. A quoted string with commas, and more spam, spam ham, non-stick spam. So this has, see this? Oh, no, you don't see this. Hey. We have this stuff. Could you see the, yeah, you could see the read. Okay, good. That's what I was talking about before. Here's the next line. This is all what we had before. So here we have a quote, and this string has a, or this field has a comma in it, so it needed to double quote it, and it also has a quote inside, and we want to make sure that that this field doesn't end abruptly, because if we had just, you know, quote and then here's another quote, okay, it's done. Where's the comma? There's no comma yet. So we want to escape it, and we do that by putting 2 of them. Whatever whoever made this dialect thought was a good idea at the time. Here we are. And 2 double quotes again, And here's the quote that actually ends the field. Here's the comma that actually delimits that field. Here's another comma to delimit. Here's something with a double quote to say there's a new line here. New line, and here's the end of the field, and there's the last thing quoted. So let's open spam.csv, write mode with a new line of empty string as f, reader equals csv.reader with f, for row in reader, we'll just print the row so we can see what we're dealing with. What? Did I do that wrong? Oh, I said right. Why did I do that? Reader, for row and reader, print the row. There's nothing in there? Oh, because I wrote it. Whoops. Oops. So I opened it in read mode, and that starts the file at the beginning and truncates everything, so it got wiped. That's fun. Let's write it again. Right row with the line, very good. And let's get that reader back. Reader, reader, reader. Here we go. Much better. Etc. and so forth. And then we have, this is using double quotes to enclose the string because there's a single quote inside. And so it would prefer to do that rather than just escaping everything. Etc. etc. There's a quote. Okay. Here's something. So notice we don't have this doubled up because it's a reader that we got this from. So this whole string over here is one cell, as it should be, with just double quote here, double quote there, and a comma. Same thing here. Here is, what do I have for here is, here is a new line. Where's A? Where'd it go? This is very strange. I have here is, and then there's the and back R back N is good. But I appended, here is a new line, and it removed that. How very odd. Here is, where's the rest of it? What did I do wrong? Here is a \n EWINE. That should have been fine, right? Something with a quote. L21. Here is. Where's the rest? I don't even know. What happened to it? Should have been this. Appended this with the comma. Here is in the space, and it didn't get the A. And it just cut off all of this. That's a little strange. Let's do the following. L.pop. Okay. x equals, and let's save this. No, that's going to be none. L2, okay, now it's in there anyway. I forgot that I had the whole l.append bit in there. I just wanted the list, whatever. Okay, now let's write that to a file. I don't know why this part disappeared, but it's very strange. With open spam.csv in write mode with the new line, not like that, with the new line being the empty string as output. Writer is going to be our csv.writer with this file object. For line in L, writer.writeRow line. Very good. Now we will open it as a regular file and not make any kind of CSV reader out of it. Let's open this as f, print f.read. Okay. Here's a \n uline, and back r, back n is good, etc. Okay. And now let's open it and do spam.csv new line equals empty string as f. Reader is our csv.reader, and we pass it our file object. For row in reader, print row. Very good. Here's something. Here is a new line. Very good. So that's there this time. And we have this, etc. Looks good to me. Looks very good to me. So that's reader and writer. We can register dialect, associate dialect with the name, which must be a string, unregister dialect, get dialect, list dialects. So there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with dialects. Oh, here's a good one. A class called csv.dictReader for a dictionary that you want to write instead of a bunch of instead of a sequence of sequences. Create an object which operates like a regular reader but maps the information read into a dict whose keys are given by the optional field names parameter, which is a sequence whose elements are associated with the fields of the input data in order, and they become the keys of the resulting dictionary. Cool. If you don't give it field names, it'll say the first row is the field names. That's basically the header. If it has more fields than the field name sequence, the remaining data is added, should be the remaining data are added, as a sequence keyed by the value of rest key, which you can also pass it. If it's fewer, the remaining keys take the value of the optional rest val, etc., etc. Okay. Let's use dictWriter and reader. Class of csv.dialect, csv.excel, Excel tab, Unix dialect, sniffer is used to deduce the format of a CSV file. Interesting. Quote all, quote minimal, quote non-numeric. These are probably things that you won't use very often. It's the dialect class, which has a delimiter, double quote. Controls how instances of quote char appearing inside a field should themselves be quoted. When true, it's doubled. So this dialect.double quote is if this value is true, then escaping a quote character is done by doubling it, like we had two of them over here. And if it's false, then the escape character is used as a prefix to the quote character. Maybe you would have an escape character of backslash. Backslashes are handy. Line terminator, quote char, quoting, skip a space. This is just a bunch of options. Dialect, line num, field names, writer, objects. Okay. Let's look at the dict reader and writer. Those are cool. Pretty handy for if you have something with what's called a header row that you'd like to manage. Let's have create an object which operates like a regular writer but maps dictionaries onto output rows. So we have a dictionary. For each, we have a sequence of dictionaries. So let's say D equals, and we have a dictionary. Let's do name Bob. Let's start with Alice. Let's do that, huh? Name Alice. Quizzes is 40, 30, whatever. I missed the button. It's okay. Tests is 90. I'm just picking arbitrary integers. I don't care. Final is 50. I don't know. Name is gonna be Bob. Quizzes is 40 this time. Tests is 40 also. And final being about 70. 71, because we're doing that. And that, and these, and we're gonna have, can you guess who's the next person in the class? It's Charlie. Quizzes. I don't know. Tests. 80. And final is 20. Great. D. Fantastic. Now we will make a dict writer, and we'll use that to write to our file. Let's have let's make it a different file than the one we're using. Are we going to use that again? Probably not. And we still have the original data L, so we can always write it again. With open spam.csv in write mode. Oh, this time I'm not saying new line equals empty string. As output, I like to always use output for a file object in write mode. I would have to pick something else if I were writing to more than one file at a time, for sure, because of course. As output, let's just give it the default field names. In this example, they have each dictionary in the rows are they have a first name and last name, and they all follow that. Oh, maybe it's the ordering. Let's switch that around. Let's try this. Tests. Let's actually go name first, then final, then tests, and then quizzes. Great. Writer is going to be a csv.dict. dict writer, and we're going to pass it that output file handle with field names equals this thing that I just made above. And now here's something dict reader-esque. Writer dot write header, and that's going to write the header row for the titles of each column. That's cool. For line in D, writer dot write row line, because each line should be a dictionary and they are mapped to the proper column fields. Alright, let's see what we've got. Open spam.csv as f, print f.read. Why is there an extra line? That's what I would like to know. Why is it doing that? Let's rewrite this with lots of lines. Oh, this last one is from the print, and then here's a new line character and another new line character over here, and that's basically the ones that followed this line from the file, and then here is the one that print gave us. So let's redo this. Field names. Actually, that's not really what I wanted, is it? What I wanted is new line equals a blank string. Field names, writer, write the header. For each line, write the line. Okay. Let's open spam.csv as f, print f.read. That's a lot better. So we have, I don't know why it omits the new line equals nothing bit. It just doesn't mention it, and it's giving us extra new lines if we don't have it. So that would be nice for it to say. Okay, we have the name, we have the final tests and quizzes, which is name, final tests and quizzes, which is the ordering that we have in our specified field names. And then we have Alice 50, 90, 30. We have Alice with final tests and quizzes 50, 90, 30. We should have 71, 40, 40, and 20, 80, 50, 71, 40, 40, and 20, 80, 50. Very handy. If you have data with where am I going with this? With fields that each have a name in the dictionary, this easily orders them by whatever order you choose with the field names parameter. And if you don't pass field names, it just kind of figures them out for you, but it may be in whatever order. Let's use dict reader. Spam.csv as f. Dict reader. Reader equals csv.dict reader. And we pass it our file handle. For row in reader, I think we'll just print the row. Yeah. Does it include the header row? Let's find out. It does not. So it doesn't have, didn't get the header row. Why can't I get it? Maybe we want it? Maybe not. Rain date is added as this. The row red has fewer. What happened to the header? Field names. I mean, maybe we wanted it for some reason. Sequence of keys. Because it is there in the output. In the file. But we read in the file, and we just have a bunch of dictionaries. I don't know why it doesn't include the header row. Let's do this. Head equals next F, and then readers this, and then this, etc. Oh. That's odd. I guess it didn't like that. It is definitely using the it's using the header row. Alice is Bob and Alice and then Charlie. So it took the first row as being the header row anyway and said, well, these are the titles for everything. So there. Not really what we wanted. I guess it just kind of throws away the header information, and but we still have the head, right? Is it possible to put it back? I don't suppose. We could chain it. This. Let's import iter tools. I think we already went through iter tools in a previous stream, so we all know what's going on there. We're gonna open this, and then head equals next F. Reader equals csv.dict reader. Let's see if this works. Itertools.chain. I think I need to do this, right? Head and F. Don't know if that'll work. Probably not. This, what's it? For row in reader, print row. Print sorted header. So it does have all of our information that we want, and I think the head should still be there. We're going to sort the head. And I have an if1 over here because I want it to wait until I'm done with everything. It's a handy little trick you can use. If we were in F#, I wouldn't have to do that. I would just delay entering the double semicolon. I don't have the reader object, do I? Oh, it's just one, oh, it's because it's... So it just got the whole string as the thing and not... I want to parse that as a header row. Not just have a string. What if I want that? I don't know. Field names. And what happens to the header? I suppose it is not there. I would have to read this first line as with just the regular csv.reader and parse that, and then read the whole thing again with the dict reader so that it can get the header row so it knows what the titles are, and then throw it away. I don't know why it would do that. Maybe it just thinks you don't need the header row. You don't need it. Well, maybe I do. I don't know. Maybe there's a field that just happens to have nothing in it. Like if you have an address book with name and phone number and email and website, and the website column doesn't happen to have anyone's website in it because they just haven't filled that out in whatever form you gave them. Then you'd have a bunch of things with a bunch of dictionaries from your dict reader with no website key because it's empty. But maybe you wanted it? That seems, I don't know why it would throw away data, but it does. It's gone. So now you know if you use a dict reader, it throws away the header row. And if you want it, read the I guess we could do this. Let's open spam.csv as f. Reader equals csv.reader with f. Oh, whoops. That's not what I wanted. Header equals next of the reader. Okay. And then we will open this again. We're not doing that. We're not doing any of this funny business. And then oh, no, never mind. Not really what I wanted. I wanted to save it. Rows equals list out of the reader. Great. Header is this. Rows is that. Very good. If one, print sorted header. rows. We're going to print actually, let's use the original order. So if 1, we're going to print the header. And then for each row in the rows, we're going to print the rows values. So we're going to print something. Item 1, actually let's say v for kv in sorted row dot items. Key being no, we don't need a key. Oh yes, we do. Key equals lambda x. I realize it's out of the screen. I'll show you after. So I'm going to sort when we do row dot items. That's a dictionary, and the items is a generator that yields the key and its value as a tuple. So we're going to take that key and value, and we're going to sort it by its order in the header. Header.index x0. That's too many parentheses. I don't mean like I've counted them and there's an incorrect number. I mean it's just a lot. We have index, header.index of x0, and we've sorted it. Sort the items. Oh, there's someone in the stream chat. Joshua Selwyn says, "Is this an intro to Python stream? What are you coding?" It's a sort of intro-ish. We're going through the standard library, and this is the CSV module, which is very handy if you ever need to work with a CSV file, because they can be really messy. Trying to handle situations like the delimiter character being part of a field, or having the quoting character being part of a field, new lines, that sort of thing. So now I have a I wrote a bunch of dictionaries with a csv.dict reader, and then I read them back in, and now I'm trying to print them nicely in order. Oh, there's a spider. Great. Give me 1 second. I'm not fond of spiders, and this one is right on the wall. I'm not going to let it hide in my checkbook again. All right. I am particularly not fond of spiders. They're aliens from another planet. Anyway, was significantly easier than having it crawling around in the corner. Where was I? I'm trying to print this out nicely with my own logic. Probably a bad idea, but I kind of started doing it. And Joshua says, thanks, and awesome beard. Thank you. It's there's some gray in it, but that's okay. Print, etc. I'm just trying to match up parentheses now. Header.index of x0. Let me end this sorted. Let me do this. Let's see what this does. Oh my god. Did that work? For real? Alice final tests and quizzes is Alice has final is 50, test 90, quizzes 30. Goodness gracious, it worked. I mean, of course it worked. Every time I write something, it runs properly the first time. No, it doesn't. So what I did was I had this print statement, this print call. So I started with this, as you can see up there. Let's actually just get the rest of it with this other stuff. Excuse me. So what this does is we have we're going through. First, we get the items in the row, which is the key and value as a tuple for each item in there. And a row is a dictionary, because rows is a list of rows. Row is a dictionary. Row.items is a sequence of tuples for the key and value. And we're going to sort this, and the way tuples are sorted is alphabetically, basically. If you have if two objects that you're comparing have the first element of one being before the first element of the other, the former will be first, regardless of what's next. If you have same way, if you have a name of AZ, it's still before BA, because A is before B, so the rest doesn't matter. But if they start with the same thing, if you have AZ and AB, then AB is going to be first, because it compared the B to the Z and says B is first. So we're going to sort that, and the key that we're going to use is this custom sort key, which means it's going to take each element of this, each item, each pair of key and value, and it's going to take that first one, which is the key of it, like a name, for example, and it's going to look up that index in the header. So x0 might be might start with final, for example, and for Alice it would be 50, right? So it would be final, and then it's going to look up final in here, the header row, and it's going to get the index of that, and that's going to be 1, and name is 0, right? So it's going to order it by where it is in here. So it says it should be, you know, element 1, and so it puts it as element 1. And the separator is for the print call, and each object is separated by a space. So very tidy. Not recommended to have a gigantic line with an unpacked generator going to print with another sorted list of items with a lambda. It's don't do this. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. Reader, writer, dict reader, dict writer. What else do we gotta know? There's a bunch of other stuff here, but I think we don't need to go through it. Dialect.skip initial space. When true, white space immediately following the delimiter is ignored. The default is false. So it's just a whole bunch of stuff. Dialect.strict. The default is false, but when it's true, it raises an exception error. Not anything specific. Oh, CSV.error. Okay. So it just says it broke if there's a bad CSV input. So I think that might be it. Unless anyone in chat has any questions in particular. I don't know if this is so much an intro stream. It's more if you have a reasonable idea of the basics of Python, it's exploring the modules that are available to use. Like last time we had pickle, and the pickle module seals your object in a jar with vinegar, and you let it sit for 6 weeks, and then you can take out your object and it's fine. It's preserved. It's for saving data in a way that lets you just kind of extract it back into the original object. It's pretty cool. And it can handle more object types than JSON, which is another way of doing that. JSON is basically just strings and dictionaries. That's all it does. What else have we got? I think that might be the stream for today. That's not a spider, is it? No, it's a dot. There's a dot on my wall. I don't know. So, what's gonna be next? CSV, here we are. Config parser? No. netrc does netrc file processing. That's great. I'm not doing that. xdrlib to encode and decode XDR data. No. plistlib to generate and parse Mac OS X.plist files. No. There's no way I'm going to be able to do anything with that or test it because I'm not running Mac OS X. I'm running Windows 8.1. Cryptographic services, hashlib, HMAC, generic operating system services, OS. Now that is what I call a module. Oh my god, it's gigantic. It's enormous. Wow. Like, for real? Crikey. So, os.path is very, very large, documentation-wise. The OS module is basically interfacing with your OS. For example, earlier in the stream, I changed the directory to the desktop, and that was with OS. os.chdir to change directory, then os.getcwd to get the current working directory. You can make system calls. Not really. So you can work with, it's called os.system, and whatever you pass basically gets routed to like your system's console or terminal program. So I could do, for example, was.system, because I already imported it, yeah. CLS. Now CLS is the Windows specific command to clear the screen in the terminal. And now the screen is clear. It returns a 0. So we get 0, and there we are. If you are in Linux, it would be clear, I believe, instead of CLS. So that's a big module. I said yesterday that I looked into Euro Truck Simulator 2 and it didn't seem very good. I think there must be something wrong with my graphic settings because, like, it looks bad. It's like 10-20 years ago graphics bad. Like the instrumentation panel for the truck, I can't read it because it's very blurry and pixelated. That's no good. So I might work on that and see what else I can do. Because I mean, it's popular somehow, right? I mean, there's even a sequel. It's very well known, but I played it yesterday and it was like driving along, take the highway off ramp. Oh, I was going too fast. I fell down. Now what? And then I had a sudden vision of I'm playing Desert Bus. And then I exited the game. But I went back in today and I'm like, isn't there a tow button? And then I had heard that it's not quite that bad that it, you have to call the tow truck and wait for it to tow you back. It just deducts some money, which, since I'm like in the beginning of the game, is handled by the company I'm working for. Poor things. So I don't have my own truck yet. I'm not that cool. But then I completed a delivery and I tried to park the trailer perfectly, but I don't actually know how to park a trailer with an 18-wheeler. I actually don't know how to do that, and there's no driving school in this game. There's a tutorial that's like, drive forward a few feet, and here's your map. Okay, go. So I don't know how to do that. I don't know how many gears that truck has either, but each one is like 5 kilometers per hour, so I'm switching gear all the time. But anyway, I'm gonna look into that. I don't know if it'll be ready tomorrow, but at some point, maybe I'll do Euro Truck Simulator 2. Euro Truck? No, Euro Truck. Terrible. Other than that, probably LOL, League of Legends, to be honest, and maybe Dota 2. I don't know. I haven't done that in a while. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for joining me in chat. And if you ever need to read a CSV in Python, use the CSV module. Don't do it yourself. You will hate the universe because it's not gonna work. It's gonna break. It's gonna be inside out and then it's gonna explode. It seems so simple on their surface, right? It's a comma separated values, just split on comma. But then, wait, what if we have one of these in here and then there's a line with and then it's bad. As I said at the beginning of the stream, this is one wheel you do not want to reinvent because it's a mess. So, thanks again, and thanks Joshua for joining me in chat, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.